This is KGW News at Sunrise.
The city of Camas is spending more than $300,000 to buy new body cams for police. But Clark County can't do the same thing after voters turned down a measure to pay for the gear. Coming up on Sunrise, the confusion that may have killed the program. Plus,
the amount of energy that you could capture is about equal to what you would need to heat over the course of a year.
So who doesn't like a story about saving money on home heating costs? Anyone? Anyone?
Bring it!
Coming up, we'll have more on this solar solution that could knock off about 1/3 of your heating bill.
And later on Sunrise, it's time for another edition of Oregon in Season. And in this adventure, Top Chef Portland's Sarah Hallman takes us to a Japanese bakery for a unique, spicy and savory donut that's only here for a short time.
Donut.
I was more involved with the food than the energy.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Home savings.
Looking forward to that.
We need to bring it together. If you save money in your heating bill, you can afford to buy more donuts.
You're putting it all together.
There you go.
Blowing your mind. I want to get to the weather because we have an active pattern out there this morning. The cold front has passed mostly through the valley. We have winds that were due south, kicking more and more to the southwest. Breezes down to 26 in Aurora. You folks were bouncing to 35. Salem, about 3:30 this morning, had a 40-mile-per-hour gust, now south of 33. All of this on the west side is going to be calming down. But you see 29 out in John Day. You folks east of the Cascades have a mix of high wind warnings and wind advisories for anything from 40 to 50, 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's up until 10 o'clock. You can see the areas of moisture statewide. But here on the west side, again, things are calming down, including shower activity. 46 out the door, sun and showers at the bus stop, about 50 when the kids get out of school today.
Rob, thank you very much. Well, police body cams are a big part of keeping officers accountable, and now the city of Camas is equipping its officers with that gear.
But just last week, voters in Clark County shot down a tax that would have helped county deputies get those same type of body cameras. KGW's Tim Gordon did some digging to find out why.
Camas is a growing small city of about 26,000 in eastern Clark County. City leaders here just put $311,000 into a police camera program. They saw it first as a way to abide by new statewide police reform laws that require recording all juvenile and adult felony interrogations.
We were thinking that one of the best ways we could attack that is by getting body-worn cameras that are available to all the officers all of the time.
But while Camas is pushing forward, Clark County is stuck in neutral. That's because a vote for a 0.1% sales tax failed in this month's election. Clark County councilors say Proposition 10 would have funded body cameras and the administrative costs for 30 years. The problem is Prop 10 didn't say anything about body cameras in its title. Instead, it was billed as a tax to fund juvenile and jail facilities.
But this in no way was to raise money for jails. And yes, it was confusing, and it wasn't our doing.
Council Vice Chair Gary Medvigi says their hands were tied by legal advice that said the county could only ask for a sales tax in limited ways, and this way didn't work.
You know, we had a couple of options before we put this measure on the ballot.
County Councilor Julie Olson did not support putting Prop 10 on the ballot because of the confusion factor. She supported an alternative ballot plan, but the entire council supports body cams, so the delay is disappointing.
If we don't get another measure on the ballot until November of 2022, we're a full year behind when we could have gotten it started, made the purchase, and start beginning the program. So it does set us back.
I am 100% behind finding the money to support this program. It has to happen.
Medvigi says they will look to next year, and he will continue to spearhead efforts to find the money to get Clark County Sheriff's deputies equipped with cameras. In the meantime, Camas is getting started.
We want to be transparent. We know that agencies all across the country are using body-worn cameras, and it protects everybody involved. And so we're sure that we're probably going to get there. We're not quite there yet.
Tim Gordon, KGW News.
In Portland, you can expect to see more flashing traffic beacons at crosswalks. ODOT started putting these beacons in about a decade ago to help drivers notice and actually stop when they see people at busy crosswalks. Over the last 2 years, ODOT has put up 18 of these beacons on parts of Southeast Powell Barbara Boulevard, and TV Highway. The plan now is to add at least 10 more on Powell over the next year. We spoke to a man who says he walks along Powell every single day, and he calls these beacons a lifesaver.
When I was 15, I actually got hit by a car up on 50th and Powell. It was a crosswalk without a light, unmarked.
ODOT is also looking to add beacons along 82nd Avenue, just south of the Portland city limits.
Well, now that kids as young as 5 can get the COVID vaccine, we've had some questions about supply and demand. So KGW's Galen Etland connected with the Oregon Health Authority.
Kids 5 and up are getting vaccinated against COVID in Oregon and Washington. The FDA and CDC approved a smaller dosage of the Pfizer vaccine, which is 90% effective in preventing symptomatic infection in children. 330,000 kids are eligible in Oregon, and more than 350 pharmacies, clinics, doctors, hospitals, and schools are getting their first doses. Oregon Health Authority confirmed to KGW Monday there's significantly more vaccine available for the 5 to 11 population than there was for the adult population during vaccine rollout last December. Supply may be limited over the next week, but should catch up in a few weeks. Families can contact primary care providers, local pharmacies, or health clinics for appointments, or use online vaccine finder tools for Oregon and Washington. OHA's works like this. Click View Vaccine Locator Map, then filter the results by selecting Pfizer, age 5 to 11, and hit Apply. You can also put in your zip code to find the closest location. Those tools are linked on KGW.com.
You can text the word vaccine to 503-226-5088, and we'll text you back a link to our article that has a running list of places where you can book COVID vaccine appointments for kids at pharmacies and county clinics and hospitals.
Okay, would you like to save some money on your home heating bill? Of course you would, but you don't necessarily need to install solar panels. A new study shows something as simple as skylights could do the trick. University of Oregon researcher Alan Rempel and his wife Alexandra studied how much passive solar heating systems like skylights and sunrooms can cut electricity use. They found the average household could save about a third on their bill. And in places that don't get that cold in the winter, skylights alone could provide all the heating you need.
That in a city like San Francisco, the amount of energy that you could capture is about equal to what you would need to heat over the course of a year, just through skylights.
Interesting. So during the pandemic, the Rempels installed a set of skylights in their own home. They expect to cut their heating bill in half.
Washington Governor Jay Inslee has ordered an executive order that requires state vehicle fleets to become 100% electric. He made the order during his visit to Scotland for the UN Climate Summit this week. And the order requires all vehicles in Washington, all state vehicles, to be zero emission by the year 2040.
This is a kind of real nuts and bolts thing that is really going to get us to meet our climate emission targets globally by taking local action. And I'm excited about it because I think it's the new sort of secret weapon we've brought to the fore of not just depending on the nation states.
Inslee is attending this week's UN Climate Summit as part of the Pacific Coast Collaborative. Oregon Governor Kate Brown is also there.
Oregon officials are reminding you that a 3% fee increase on your vehicle registration tags starts on January 1st. It's part of the state's transportation investment package passed in 2017. The DMV has started mailing registration renewal reminders with the updated fee for tags expiring after the first of the year. Now, it's not a lot of money. It's $3 more for most title fees, $4 more for 2-year registration fees. And even if you renew before January, you will still have to pay those extra bucks. Money collected will pay for things like updating sidewalks and reinforcing bridges against earthquakes. All right, time now to get an update on our forecast. Here's Rod Hill.
Yeah, pretty good night last night in terms of active weather. We had the steady rain. We had some 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts south of Portland, mainly down around Marion County. Seemed to be kind of a wind bullseye that you folks in Salem, of course. The front itself has passed for the most part through the Willamette Valley. You see the rain is tapering off. Winds will be easing in the coming couple of hours as well. We still have active precipitation out east. And we talked earlier in the show, if you live east of the Cascades, you're watching us, good morning. You folks in Jefferson County, then out towards John Day and into the Blue Mountains. Meacham, you could be looking at some high winds between 40 and 50, 55 mile per hour winds through about 10 o'clock this morning. So we have all that going on. Back to the west side, most of the heavy stuff is over. The rain is already breaking up. The winds are going to continue to taper down over the next couple of hours. Here's 8:30 this morning on Futurecast. A scattered showers, sunbreak day coming. Later this afternoon, see the bright colors. Could be some spotty downpours and maybe some hail. Showers hold on this evening, but then during the day tomorrow, which is what we've been saying, primarily dry conditions until we get late day and then going into the evening. Here we are at 5 p.m. with the rain starting to pick up, and then that becomes steady rain with a warm front tomorrow overnight into Thursday. I want to show you something miles are really starting to bite hard on. Steady rain for more hours than not Wednesday evening, night, Thursday, Friday. This just goes through 10 p.m. Thursday, and look at these rain amounts. Could we get anywhere from 1.5 inches to 3 inches of rain total from Wednesday night through Friday? Something we're really going to start to talk about. Here are your early morning numbers. 50s here on the west side of our state. We only see a high of 53, so steady temperatures today. Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday could be a real soak. We'll have more on that.
Ooh, all right. We'll see you then. Thanks, Rod. A number of local families are struggling to put food on the table, even as the pandemic is easing. Coming up this morning on Sunrise, we look at one massive effort to help those in need. Plus, Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers missed Sunday's game because he has COVID and is unvaccinated. Our National Verify team looks into whether players can be fined for violating the league's COVID safety policies.